Hello, I'm Phil Singleton, owner and lead SEO strategist at Kansas City SEO. This is a case study of a managed IT services company, MSP, IT support services company, what have you. We're going to give you a little bit of background first. This is not a client or a previous client. They did approach us a couple years ago, probably a $5 to $10 million company. They did a new website this year, and earlier I saw on social media that they had asked for some feedback. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. Agency folks are my people. If anything, small businesses need more digital marketing help than they ever needed in the past. And there is some irony with an SEO company coming in and kind of pick apart another agency's work because SEO's probably got the biggest black eye in terms of an industry of anybody. But this is what we do, right? We come in and we try and figure out where problems are, how to solve problems, how to monetize problems. That's what business is. And in this case, this is a great example of not only how to solve a problem, but really how to avoid one so that you can keep what you have and build on it versus potentially lose, a lot of what you already had. So the motivation for doing this is I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen more companies lose rankings more dramatically than I ever had this year. And I think a lot of that has to do with people moving to digital media, investing more in it. So that sites actually have a lot more intrinsic or SEO equity than they ever had in the past, which means when they move over to something, the fall or the problems can be bigger because in the past, in the first 5 or 10 years of this industry, there just wasn't enough content and websites out there. So it's almost like, the bigger the investment now, the bigger the fall type of a thing. So the good on this particular case, great looking site, great rebrand, beautiful creative, new emphasis on social media. They're creating video content, things like that. I think they're going to start a podcast. This is the right direction. But again, tactics, which are the right direction, don't necessarily translate or aren't the same definition of having a strategy. So you can do a lot of these things and not get results if you don't have a strategy in place. The bad of this particular, let's say, website build, they can completely stripped away even the most basic SEO. It almost looks intentional. It's not, but they've lost all rankings, all traffic value. They went from $20,000 kind of at their peak in terms of organic traffic value to basically zero. This, to me, in a lot of ways, usually means a site has not only lost all of its traffic, but it's lost all its credibility with Google. So in that case, they lose all their visibility. So anything that they were getting in terms of inbound is completely gone. A big pet peeve of mine too. And again, people are going to maybe have different opinions on this, but an agency, a boutique agency to a larger agency is probably going to charge anybody, from maybe 10, 20, 50, $100,000 for a custom WordPress website. But when you come in to a company like this and they put a website on a pre-made theme, $59 theme that's meant to resell to 100,000 companies for $59, they're just not designed for that. So there are a lot of, that's not to say they can't be ranked or they can't work for you, but it's just not, in most cases, since the website's kind of the hub of everything in the car and the race, most cases you're not going to have the highest ranking potential with a pre-made website, especially in a case like this where a company's big enough and they paid for a new website. It should have been built on a custom, it should be a custom WordPress site basically. Okay, the ugly on this piece, I'm going to use Ahrefs as our favorite tools. You can kind of see really quickly. I don't have to go on this too terribly much, but you can see over time here, this is going back from 2018, they've completely lost all their traffic. The new website build, here is back in here, and this is when it's literally tanked to almost nothing. You can see in terms of traffic value, and a quick definition of traffic value, and again, Ahrefs is the tool that we use, one of my favorite, kind of all time. Traffic value is the monthly commercial value of your organic traffic if you were to have to pay for it in Google Ads. So they were ranking for great keywords that had commercial intent for some time, and with this new build, they basically went from a peak of 20,000, let's say, down to the $5,000 to $10,000 range, now down to zero. So that means they're not ranking for words that people, would look for in the managed service provider place or in the IT support place that would turn into traffic, that would turn into a lead or a sale. Those types of inbound clicks are now gone. Main problem here is, like a lot of companies, they'll look for tactical solutions or band-aids, so their marketing strategy just looks like a bunch of tactics thrown up against a wall. Same thing kind of happened here. In this case, I think they kind of went all in on social media, fragmented their marketing strategy, and then the website kind of has got kicked off to the side as almost like a dumping ground or a digital brochure. Where you want to be, and I think where these guys were a little bit before, but still had some maybe parts of this to kind of clean up, is turn your website into a marketing hub. It should be the referral source for all of your content, so that you're publishing from that source. You're accumulating your expertise, authority, and trust on your own platform that you own, and you're distributing your knowledge from your website, not from a social media chat platform that you don't own. The 100% guaranteed fix in this case would be to keep the design, not the layout, get the old site data, do a little bit of historical search to see if we can take whatever we can from that old structure and apply it to the new structure in terms of recovery. Look for things like old redirects and make sure redirects are in place that aren't there right now. Rebuild the site from scratch. Focus on something called EAT, which is expertise, authority, and trust. Please Google that when you get a chance because it's probably the most important principle or document if you find the PDF in all of marketing. We would take their current fragmented kind of marketing tactics and turn it into a defragmented marketing platform. Develop a content calendar that's more SEO and science based in terms of what people are searching for versus kind of creative brainstorm. Here's what we think might work on social media type of approach. Then we'd reposition the site as a marketing hub and as a publishing platform. And again, make sure it's a referral source for all of the company's content. You're looking at probably a 3 to 6 month conservatively period to recover the lost rankings. In this case, I would say probably more like 2 to 3, but conservatively, a lot of this stuff when we relaunch and fix does take a little bit of time for it to take effect. So the moral of this story is, if you're going to do a website redesign, and surely if you've approached any type of marketing agency, one of the biggest things we hear is, every time I go talk to some, marketing strategist first, they want to redesign the website. Well, a lot of cases, if you're having problems, the website there's a good chance that that's part of the problem and needs to be part of the solution. So, but the main point here is if you're going to go to another agency, whether it's a social media or creative agency or advertising agency or branding agency or PPC agency, please make sure you get a SEO strategist in the room. Ask if they have one. If not, find your own. Doesn't have to be us. A lot of great SEO talent here in Kansas City, in the Midwest, around the country that can really save you a lot of time and money and increase your potential and reduce your chance of losing maybe some SEO equity that you already have and maybe don't even know that you have. So please get an SEO strategist in the room if you're considering any type of redesign or change in marketing strategy. Now, this is just a real quick thing in this particular case. I see this happening a lot in SEO and in marketing in general, and people are looking to influencers that are very good at creating their own cult of personality and views and impressions and a lot of vanity metrics that make it look like they're really buzzing or popping on a certain social media channel. And then you get companies that say these guys are doing well for their own personal brand or their own company. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be able to replicate that for you. So that's like the idea of going out to Tiger Woods to learn a golf swing, or Patrick Mahomes to coach your team. Do you really is that the best person to help your business? Is the star? Should you really be working at a coach who's going to look at the whole program and help you tie everything together? So I think this happens a lot now where people are like, oh, I'm doing well on social media or whatever. That means it's going to translate over to my clients or vice versa. We really have to be careful of that, because just because somebody else is doing a good job, for their own personal brand, especially on the social media platforms, doesn't mean they're in the best position to guide your whole marketing strategy. So just keep that in mind. I mean, there's some things that you can use and leverage, but to have somebody drive the whole ship, that can be problematic. More SEO crimes coming. Got a couple different IT services companies that just happen to kind of fall on our lap in terms of case studies over the last few weeks. I got a roofing company that's a great example of somebody that has lost a lot. And all their leads organically have basically fallen off a planet. They're having to spend more and more on PPC type of a thing. And we got water damage restoration. I got a landscaping company's a great case study. Lots of exterior modeling ones. Garage door repair company that actually went from having a pretty good organic footprint for the investment they were making, but totally switched gears and went black hat in a way that's like I haven't seen for like 10 years. And they're paying the price, dearly for that. So more SEO crime case studies to follow. You need any SEO help? I think we can virtually help any website or SEO problem, assuming that we'll get access and we'll be able to work with a team. We can help you recover lost rankings. More than 50, I would say almost 75% of our new clients are some form of rescue or recovery. We can help you use SEO to calibrate all of your marketing and tie it all together. I think people lose sight of this. SEO is really not just about keywords, backlinks and content anymore. There's a much broader, many more signals and many more components that SEO can help in terms of tying all your marketing together. We do specialize in helping companies improve and gain EAT signals, and really also doing a lot of what I consider going from an SEO 1.0 type of a strategy to SEO 2.0, which again, I'm gonna have another video on this, but it's essentially a video first format where we kind of come in and document things with video and then use that content to optimize and distribute throughout the rest of the internet. Again, I've been over several economic cycles over the last 20 years. I know a lot of people are concerned, but I think now is kind of going to be a great time for a lot of agencies and companies to come in, and where marketing is like more important than ever. So it's kind of taking a step back and using this time to make sure that you've got it like dialed in, and you're using like every advantage that you can to make sure that your investment into the coming year is going to be as optimized and get you the best ROI possible. It's a great time to do that, because things were pretty easy and things were falling into people's laps over the last few years in a lot of industries. That's probably looking like it's not going to be that way for a little bit here. So, but it's time to be excited, not to be worried. If you got the right plan in place, you can grow in the headwinds that are coming versus worrying about keeping what you have.